we are not yet done talking about Star Wars. Because something else really fucking important happened. What is that, you might ask? Well, you see, The Mandalorian aired at the same time as another show that's Star Wars related. That show is The Bad Batch. Now, The Bad Batch, it's been airing for a while now. It's been airing for, I think we're on like episode 8 or whatever. It's been 8 weeks, you know? Now, it's not uncommon for shows in like the same franchise to, you know, air consecutively or simultaneously. I'm pretty sure it's happened with Star Wars before. I'm pretty sure it happened with Andor and The Bad Batch. But the thing is that shit happened in The Bad Batch. And I cannot help but sit here and kind of see that what happened in The Bad Batch is completely like, there is no coincidence, right? Season 1 of The Mandalorian Season 3 did not coincidentally air with this latest episode of The Bad Batch, because this latest episode of The Bad Batch, let me get a nice picture. The Bad Batch. Let me get a nice picture of The Bad Batch for you. There we go. That's a good one. Fuck it, let's use this one. So, The Bad Batch, there they all are. All of them. So, on this episode of The Bad Batch, this episode, it is called Metamorphosis. And what is it about? It's about a fucking plot thread that hasn't been addressed since the Clone Wars. Now, if you've watched the Clone Wars, wait, there's the picture of The Bad Batch. I'm sorry, I forgot I changed over. Anyways, so if you are familiar with the Clone Wars, chances are you've heard of the Xylo Beast arc, or the Zillo Beast. I say Xylo, but I'm pretty sure it's pronounced Zillo. Doesn't matter. So the Xylo Beast was this whole arc in the Clone Wars, and basically it was like this thing that like feeds on electricity, and as it feeds on electricity, it gets bigger and bigger, and it basically becomes Godzilla. Like, that is the only way I can really put it. And for scientific reasons, and because Palpatine is fucking evil, they brought it to Coruscant for study and research and stuff like that. Obviously, it broke out and it became a problem, and there was a Godzilla epidemic in fucking Coruscant, the capital of the galaxy. But they managed to subdue it, capture it again, and I think they freed it. However, they got DNA from that fucking thing, because this episode, we see that the Empire has been fucking around with Kaminoan cloning tech on the Xylo Beast. Now you might be like, well, Dave, why the fuck does that matter in regards to the Mandalorian? Why does it matter then if the Mandalorian's got nothing to do with the Xylo Beast? What the fuck? Well, hold on. All right, well, hold the fuck on. Listen a minute, because here's the thing. The Mandalorian has had a very undertoned theme of cloning. The whole reason that this Imperial remnant of Moff Gideon, the whole reason they wanted Grogu, the whole reason they wanted this homie right here, this little guy, is so they could use his DNA in some sort of a weird cloning thing. And it was done by none other than, let me get the picture, by this asshole right here, Mr. Dr. Pershing. Now this guy, he is a part of, I don't know if they have a name for it, but he was a part of like clone engineering for the Empire. Because what happened is that in the Bad Batch, we see what happens to Kamino. You know, if you know anything about Star Wars, Kamino is where the clones came from. Well, in the Bad Batch, Kamino is wiped the fuck out. Okay, and a couple episodes ago, we just had a whole arc about how they were trying to cover it up. And now they're going to phase out the clones to bring forth the Imperial Stormtrooper, in the words of Emperor Palpatine. But that's besides the point. Point is that basically what they did was they basically wiped out the Kaminoans, the Empire. Then the Empire took the Kaminoan technology, and now they're doing and running experiments involving cloning. Why would they be doing this? Well, boys and girls, I know we don't like to bring it up. Okay? I know it's a very heated topic, but in the sequel trilogy, we learned that good old Palpatine fucking cloned himself. And what he did was he basically, there he is right there, Mr. Palpatine. Basically, he was fucking around with cloning tech. And that was how he was going to basically prevent his own death. If you remember the tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise, he was killed by his own pupil, and he could prevent anybody from dying but himself. But then his pupil, he solved how to do it. And Palpatine did, because he came back. And he might come back again. We don't know. But basically, what Palpatine did was, at the time of his death, he basically almost forced himself into the actual living force, and basically converted and teleported and transported his essence, all that makes him, into a new body. Right? This, what we see in The Rise of Skywalker, is a part of that, right? It is basically a more fucked up bad version of what Palpatine was trying to accomplish, and it's very obvious that at the time of the Empire's defeat, it was nowhere near complete, because he's still really fucked up. This is episode 9, and they have not mastered this technology. And you might be like, well, why is that such a big deal? It's not that hard to clone a fucking body. But the thing is that it is very fucking difficult to clone a body of a person who is, attuned to the Force. Right? You can't just go and clone Yoda, especially not have then Yoda go and inhabit this other body, because that's what Palpatine was doing. You can imagine like a fish tank, right? You need strong ass glass to hold all that water, or it's gonna fucking shatter. In this scenario, right, Palpatine is the water. Everything that makes Palpatine is the water, and the actual glass fish tank is the body, right? It is the husk that he is going to put himself into. All the bodies, all the fish tanks they were trying weren't strong enough. Why weren't they strong enough? Because they fucking went and they killed all the goddamn Force sensitives. They don't have any of their DNA. They're all dead. Besides a couple that are in hiding that they can't find. They're all fucking dead, right? You can't just go and get some fucking DNA from one of these Force sensitives, because that's kind of the idea, right? Is that, okay, if the body is made with, the idea that it's going to be Force sensitive, right? If you reinforce the actual fish tank, it's going to hold the water. And so you would need something that is equivalent and appropriate to Palpatine. Palpatine is really fucking strong. He's really strong in the Force. This dude is one of the most unstoppable killing machines on the fucking galaxy, right? He's crazy. He's a madman. He's got a lot of power. He is big dick. He is a fucking 5-star, right? And they're trying to put him into a 2-star body. He needs another 5-star. Another 5-star Force user would be Yoda. But Yoda's dead. That being said, Yoda's species, whatever its name is, we don't know its name still, it has been this way since the old canon and is now in the new canon. Yoda's species is very fucking strong in the Force. Like, Yaddle and Yoda, they were strong as hell. They were like prime Jedi. These homies are basically like, you could almost describe them as pure embodiments of the living Force. Like, they can just... Look at fucking baby Yoda. He's a fucking child. You know, he might be 50, but he's still a baby. And he can, like, lift a whole ass, like, monsters and shit. I mean, it takes some effort, but, like, imagine being a baby and lifting up this gigantic monstrosity. You know what I mean? Which is what happened in season 1. You know, imagine being a baby and already knowing how to force choke a bitch. Like, you are strong in the Force to know that. And so this is why that they wanted... this is why these homies right here, the fucking cloning people, you can see the little thing right here. This is why the cloning people wanted him. Because they basically figured, well, Palpatine, if he wants to live forever, they can just clone him and give him a new, better, younger body, and he will be A-okay. Thing is that transferring himself into this body, it's fucked him up and it left him all deformed and messed up. And it was only by the essence of fucking Kylo Ren and Rey that he was reborn. It's been a while since I've watched that movie, but whatever. Anyways, you get the idea, right? So basically, if they get the DNA from the child, Grogu, they can then use it as they are cloning bodies for Palpatine, and basically they can have as many Palpatines as they want. And this is actually a fucking arc from the old canon, if you know anything about the Legends continuity, is that they had a whole ass plot where Luke Skywalker fought off like 50 Emperor Palpatines. And he won, right? Because he's a Giga Chad, but still, it's 50 fucking Palpatines, you know? And they're all, like, in their prime, right? Anyways. So, that's the whole reason why the Mandalorian went on his quest. Is so that they can take this fucking guy, this little asshole, they can take him, cut off a fingernail or whatever. This guy can then go clone this guy, or this guy can go and live forever. Because as we know with Palpatine is of the mindset that if he is not alive, if he doesn't exist, the Empire shouldn't exist, right? Because that was the whole plot in the Battlefront 2 campaign and the Battle of Jakku and all that. He's basically was, after he died, he was like, look, I'm dead. The Empire shouldn't exist anymore. And he had a bunch of contingencies that were enacted by all of his different officers to ensure that, you know, the Empire's going to wipe itself out and destroy everything so that the Republic can never know. And probably one of the things that they were going to destroy is the fact that they were trying to clone his ass. We also know that Snoke, when the First Order left to the outer or to the unknown regions of space and regrouped, that Snoke came to them, and Snoke was basically like another failed clone body of Emperor Palpatine, and he basically used it to manipulate them and all sorts of other stuff. But you know how he basically had a lot of contingencies. He had a lot of plans. There ain't no way that there ain't a dot between this, and this. That being said, why is it related to the Bad Batch? Well, that's because the cloners, the people who are people like this guy, were basically the ones fucking around with the Xylo Beast. Here is one of the nice ladies, a part of it. Her name is Scalder. Here she is. Here's Scalder. Look at her outfit. Look at this outfit. It's a nice out. Now look at this guy's outfit. See it again. Let's look at this outfit. You see the black here. You see the white. You see the kind of gray around there. You see this patch over here. Man, that's crazy. Because he's got the same shit on. That's because they're part of the same fucking shit, bro. And that she and her shit, what they're doing with the Zillo Beast and anything else, all the different Kaminoan tech, all the secrets they're trying to get from the remaining Kaminoans. This is the progenitor to this guy, which would then mean that this homie's returning. You know what I mean? You know what? We already know he's coming back, but they're basically building the groundworks of how that shit happens. You know what I'm saying?